Hey guys, welcome to my new video. This is going to be a video explaining everything that's done to the car, including the turbo kit, the motor, fuel system, exterior mods like the wide body, rims, suspension, and the front lip. I want to start with the outside of the car, with the fenders, the lip, basically stuff like that, the suspension. Then we'll move to the fuel system, then to the motor. Then lastly, the turbo kit. If you guys want to know just about the turbo kit, how much it costs, and what's all done to do it, go ahead and skip to the end of the video. I'll put a timestamp somewhere up here. But thank you guys for helping me get up to almost 100 followers or 100 subscribers on here. If you want to see more of the car daily uploads and stuff like that, check TikTok at slow_stang_02. If you want to see more pictures and what we're doing to the car every day, I post on Instagram under the same username. So with that, let's get started. Behind me, as you can see, it's a 2002 3.8 Mustang with a turbo kit on it. It's an at-home made turbo kit with an eBay turbo. It made 240 horsepower and 315 torque. So the first thing that's done to the car is, on the exterior, is the wide body. The wide body is not really a wide body, it's just urban fenders. I call it a wide body. Other people call it other stuff. The front fenders are from JDM Fenders on Instagram. I will be putting a link down in the bio. And on the back is Jumbo. It's another Instagram page that makes these. I do like both of them. I feel like they're very high quality. I've yet to crack them, scratch the paint on them as they came out. The fronts I've only had on for maybe a month. The backs I've had on for over a year now. Go ahead and pause the video, give you some up close, and then get right back with you guys. Did to the car is one of the favorite things besides the turbo kit. Something you really don't see on the new edges at all. There's a couple people that I know of them. I've only know 5 or 6 that actually has the full-on rear and fronts. But after the fenders, it would be the wing. The wing, I do not know who made it, what company it is, what it's made for. I went to Ford Nationals this year in Carlisle. The guy had it for $100. I asked him if he would take $50 for it, and he made me a deal, gave me $50. I gave him $50 to give me the wing. I will say it's a little higher than what I thought it would be on the car, so I might cut the supports down probably an inch off and lower the wing a little bit more. But after putting it on, a lot of people they hate it or they love it. Not really in between. I think my one friend says he's iffy about it. He hasn't seen it in person, which he's going to be stopping by after this video is done. And we're going to go from there. We might cut it down today. I don't know. Where it's almost like a little bit over stock height of the stock wings. But I'll go ahead and show you guys the wing now. As you can see, I do have to clean up the old holes, plug them, take the painter's tape off where I had everything marked and ready to go. So after that, get back into the video. And I ended up going with the Magic Drift front lip that I have. It was $69. But let me go ahead and show you guys the Magic Drift bumper. The Magic Drift lip on the car. Very easy to install. It's almost like the Mach 1 lip that you can buy off American Muscle. I will be putting the link in the description for the lip. Next up would be the suspension. The suspension is SR Performance coilovers. I really can't show you guys what they look like. There are 4 coilovers you buy off of American Muscle. I believe Late Mile Restoration sells them for the car as well. And the 2 cutouts on the bumper. I feel like the car wasn't going to get much air where the intercooler is sitting because it's the V6 bumper. They don't have that much space. We drilled 2 2-inch holes. Took a 2 and a 2.5-inch hole saw bit. Drilled the rings out of metal. Wrote it to the car. I'll go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. If you guys haven't seen them on Instagram or anything like that, they're easy to make. You can go to Lowe's if you already have tools. Pick up a piece of sheet metal, do it yourself. It's, for me, it added something that you don't see on the new edges a lot. So that's a lot of things that goes towards this car, is stuff you don't see a lot. So I won't keep doing it because you don't see it. But and then here's the Jag's 4-inch exhaust bezel. The exterior of the car. Now let's move into the interior of the car. The interior is basically a stock interior besides the seat, the harness bar, the steering wheel. The steering wheel I got from eBay. I totaled the car probably about 2 years ago. I didn't want to go through the hassle of buying a new airbag and all that stuff, so I went to eBay, bought me a cheap steering wheel, and then bought the hub off of American Muscle and a quick detach off of NRG. I like it. A lot of people don't see them on the cars a lot. If you do, they're actually a nice setup. I like it because I have the NRG seats, which don't really, unless you put the brackets on them, they don't move. Unless you go through the hassle of switching the brackets over. I have it in one spot, and that's where I like to sit. The car's made for me, not for anyone else to drive. So I have it set where I like to. I don't like being sitting up on the steering wheel, but I don't like sitting too far back. But besides that, I love the seats. They're comfortable for what they are. I picked them up off of eBay for $530 some bucks. They're great seats. I'll go ahead and show you guys them. There's the seats. As you see where I was talking about where they're solid mounted, they don't move. The seats are a little farther back than I like them. I do have to move them up a little bit. I'll probably just want to move the driver's side. The passenger side's good where it is, have enough leg room to move around, turn around, grab stuff out of the back seat. And then the steering wheel. Yeah, they're very comfortable. They're a little tight on the waist, so that's something to worry about. Make sure you check the sizes when you order them. If you do order these seats, make sure that you do fit them before you get them. The first seats I bought, I couldn't fit in, so I had to send it back and get a little bit wider seats. I like them. They're nice, easy to clean. All the pads are removable. Toss them in the wash for about 5 minutes. Toss them in the dryer, let them dry out in the air. They're pretty good. But besides that, I'll go ahead and put you guys back up on the tripod and keep going on with you. If you've seen the video, I do have a harness bar. Harness bar I picked up for around 90 to 100 bucks off of, I believe, Amazon or eBay, one of the two. It's a budget build, so everything that I get is either off of Amazon, eBay, or used for the most part. That's mostly the interior. I think if there's anything else, I think the only other thing that's done to the interior is the shift knob, which is off of American Muscle. I picked up for 40 bucks. I don't even think it was 40 bucks. I think 20 to 40, somewhere in there. I'll post that down below in the thing for a link if you want to buy it. And the other thing is, before I get into the motor, the fuel system, and all that stuff, the only real thing that's done in the trunk is a couple of relays. The fuel pump relays back there now. It's hooked up to the old computer, so when the computer would be turned on, the switch to the old relay, it just hardwires it to the relay and just keeps the pump running 24/7 with the key on. That's basically all it was, and I'll try to get into that a little bit more in detail with the next video when I talk about the fuel system only. But let's go ahead and move on to the fuel system. In this video, just an easy talk about thing. I'm not going to go into great detail. Starting with the tank, it's just a stock GT tank, stock V6 tank with stock fuel pumps out of an 0304 Cobra. It's a dual pump setup. All we did was wired them together, ran it to the relay, so when you turn the key on, the pumps constantly run. It doesn't work like the stock setup does, where it pulses. It's 12 volts straight to the pumps, and this keeps them running as long as the key is on and the vehicle's running. The pumps are running full power the whole time. From there, it's AN6 fuel line up to a Evil Energy 30 micron fuel filter, which I got from eBay. I'll post that in the comments as well. And then that runs to the feeder rail, which I'll talk about a little bit more, where how you can make one for this car for a return line system. Then I run into the injectors. I'll talk about that more in seconds. From the feeder rail, it goes back to a return line to the regulator. The regulator's set at 45 for a baseline with the key on. And then runs back to the tank, which we just use the stock factory lines for the return line instead of using it for the feed. The fuel problem I had with the car, as a lot of people know, when I was building the car, I did have a lot of fuel issues with it. All it was the rubber piece from the factory line was clogged with a piece of the plastic, stuff that just shouldn't have been in there. My fault, so it was a lot of wasted time and effort doing all this other stuff when all it was a $12 piece I could have went down to Amazon and bought, but we just completely overlooked it. So I'm going to show you guys the fuel filter, and then I'm going to try to post somewhere in here a picture of the fuel rails that we made. All we did for the fuel rail system is took two stock fuel rail systems, cut the lines off of them, put so each side had a feed. The feed on the passenger side would be in the front, and then the old feed off the old one would be out on the passenger rear side of the fuel the intake system. So you had the fuel coming in and then exiting out the complete opposite side, so you get better pressure overall. I'm running DeatschWerks 60-pound injectors, or it's 630 cc injectors, however you feel which when you go with the pounds or cc's. They're a little bit bigger than what you need for the horsepower making. I did that so I can keep just turn the view stuff when I want to, and I won't have to worry about losing fuel. Fuel system, I believe I talked to the guy down and said it should be set for 400 to 600. Anywhere in there should be good depending on what motor and what setup I have. He said it should be good for almost 600 horsepower. Go ahead and show you guys the fuel filter, the fuel rails. I'll try to get you a better up close video of how they're made, but I will post some pictures somewhere in here somehow. I don't have a good editing software. Right now I'm just using a smartphone. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that. As you can see, there's the AN6 coming from the back to the fuel filter, down under the intake, into the original feed area, down to the injectors right here, the DW 60-pound injectors. And as you can see, all we do is cut the lines right there, put a new rubber hose on it. Then here's the other side. You see we had to make custom mounts because it's not made to be put on there this way. As you see, there's the feed from the original one, and here's the second one that comes out. It comes out the back right there to the return line, over to the regulator. And it goes from the regulator back to the tank, and then the vacuum line for the regulator just to the fuel system. That's basically the basics. You don't have to do AN lines, you don't have to do no fuel line upgrades. You probably get away with a GT pump and be fine. I'm not going to sit here and say you have to do this, do this, do this. I don't know. I'm just telling you how I did it. That was probably the most expensive part of the whole build, was the fuel system, all because it was a mess up on our end with the clogged factory lines. That's something we should have checked. We tried blowing them out, thinking that we got everything, but we didn't. So I'll move on from the fuel system to the motor. The motor is a 3.8 out of a 2000 V6 Mustang, I believe it was. I got the motor off of Facebook for $100, I believe, somewhere around there. I didn't want to use the stock motor because the stock motor had 250,000 miles on it. It wasn't running completely good, and I figured, okay, let's just buy this motor, rebuild it with just gaskets, no new pistons, no rods, or nothing like that. It was just re-gasket to make sure everything's good, make sure the heads are good, make sure the valve springs are good, make sure the cam was good. Everything looked good, we put it together, paint it, make it look nice. So it's basically all stock. The only thing we did was we welded the flaps for the intake runners, or we welded the intake runners so they would stay open. You do lose a little bit torque at the low end, but with the turbo, you gain it back at the top end. Besides that, I believe everything else on the motor is stock. From what we know, it's still head studs or head bolts. I do want to change over to head studs in the future. So I can boost up to like 12, 13. We do have a motor in the back right now that we're going to forge rods and pistons sent to us here shortly. We put in the motor and build a decent 3/8 that's going to hold up to boost and higher horsepower. But before we put that in, we will be taking it somewhere to where they will let us dyno it, keep turning the boost up until the stock motor says doesn't like it anymore. If there's rod or something, we just want to see how much the stock motor will hold, so we have a baseline of what we can do with the new motor and what we need to change to make sure that motor can reach the goal of like 400 to 500 horsepower with the turbo setup is what we want. So right now I'm only at half the power I want and about a little bit like 3/4 of the torque, but I know probably about half the torque is what it would be right now for what we are going to be doing with the car. We want it to be between a 500 to 600 horsepower car and about 600 to 700 torque. So about half for each on 6 pounds of boost. So we're going to turn it up to 12, see what it does, see if it gets me anywhere close to those numbers. To the turbo kit. The turbo kit was made in this garage out of eBay parts. You could do it cheaper by going to a junkyard, or maybe a auto shop has some 2.5-inch exhaust pipe laying around, or some extra pipe laying around, doesn't matter size. I choose 2.5, it flows a little bit better. The turbo spools up around 25K, and I'm already in the boost. At 3K, I'm making a full 6 pounds. A boost I want for right now, which is great, but I'll go ahead and show you what we all use for that. I can't show you, I will tell you. But basically all it was done. So as you can see in here, this is the garage. I'm just showing, like, there's no special part in this garage. It's just something that almost everyday people who work on cars have. It's a little messy right now because we have a couple of things go back and forth, but there's no lift, no nothing. We did everything on jack stands and a cherry picker, but and a welder. I mean, the welder is something you need if you're going to do this at home for any build. Now going on to building it, like I said before, it's this 2.5-inch exhaust pipe. All we did was turn the headers. We flipped the driver's side to passenger side, flipped them around. Welded, I believe it's a 1/4 or 1/2 to 2.5-inch flange onto it. They run 2.5-inch pipe into a Y, and at the bottom of the Y we just put a T3 mount that we made out of scrap metal, and turbo bolts right up to it. The turbo is a GGT3. It's a max speeding rods turbo. You can pick them up for 125 bucks. Probably used 100 to 90 some bucks. You can probably pick off of Facebook or eBay or something like that. The intercooler pipe is 2.5 off of eBay. I think it was $118 for the whole kit, and then it's a 3.5-inch by 29-inch intercooler with a 2.5-inch inlets. I will want to get a little bit bigger with the intercooler. It's not doing that much. It's very small for what I want. It runs from there, from the intercooler up to the map sensor, which is an SCT map sensor. You will have to upgrade your map sensor or map, whatever. I don't know on that what it is actually called. A lot of people have been using the 3-valve GT Mustang sensors. They're a little bit easier. They're cheaper. You can pick them up at a junkyard. I went to SCT because I do want to build more power. The stock ones won't work. No matter what you do, they won't work right. You won't get the right readings. Your air fuels will be off. Might as well spend the extra 100, 200 bucks on an actual sensor to where the car's going to be able to get tuned right. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the piping and everything as best as I can right now. So basically all I say, we just turn the headers around, goes down, goes back up to the turbo, and then out through the fender. And the intercooler pipe goes down, comes across to the intercooler, and then back up to this SCT big air, and then right into the intake. So that's basically all you really need for the motor and the turbo kit. It's very easy. Now let's talk about the price. For everything from the exhaust pipe to the turbo, oil feed, oil return line, intercooler pipe, and anything you need just to turbo the car, besides the map air sensor, depending on where you get it from, brand new, used, or anything, you can do the turbo kit for around, I want to say $450 is what I just priced everything with on eBay. Now that's not considering any of the fuel system, that's not the map sensor, that's not tuning, that's just to build the turbo kit and everything you need to turbo it besides, like I said, a fuel system. The fuel system is probably going to run you anywhere from $500 to $600 for anything from injectors. Depends on what injectors you get from you. If you can pick up a used set of injectors, you can probably do it for $120. It all depends on what you buy. The vehicle is tuned by DGR Performance. They're a dyno and build shop out of DeatschWerks, Pennsylvania. They're amazing people. They work with me through multiple problems I've had. Take the car back. Hey, problem's fixed. When can we get it rescheduled? They would have me a date and a time ready to go, basically. Got there at 9 o'clock almost every day. We were out there within a couple hours. There was no point dropping the car off. They did amazing work. I do prefer going back to them or anyone I've talked to in this area. They use the SCT Rev X, I believe. I have to relook at it. Don't quote me on that. But they are amazing people. I do particularly like how they have the shop set up. The prices aren't that bad. So if you are in the Pennsylvania, Maryland area and looking to get your car tuned, GT V6 or anything, as long as it's Ford, Chevy, or American Muscle, I believe they do, mostly American Muscle stuff, I would prefer you guys take it to them. They're amazing people. Amazing. With 6 pounds of boost, the car made around 240 horsepower and 315 torque. It's not a lot, but that puts me around what basically bolt-on GTs without a tune make, or some GTs with the tune and basic bolt-ons, probably around the same thing. I am running 373 gears with an open diff, so that might help me out a little bit more. I would like to get I might weld a diff, or we might get a locker for it here shortly. I have noticed when I launched the car, it has been doing one wheel pills here and there. It's not that bad. We will be taking the car hopefully to an event at a closed location. I can't say where it is. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's the same username as my YouTube, TikTok, and everything's all the same. Subscribe. If there's any more questions I can answer for you guys, go ahead and comment below. DM me on Instagram. Feel free. I try to answer as best I can. I do not get notifications if I'm not following you. I do actually accept messages, so just give me time. Comment my video, hey, I DM'd you or something like that if you guys have any other